When Ivy Zelman speaks, we listen. Why? She is one of the people that predicted the 2006 real estate crash. In fact, she famously came out and opposed Toll Brothers CEO saying, "What Kool-Aid are you drinking? Because I want some too," in response to him saying the market was going to be amazing forever. Her predictions going into 2024 and 2025 are interesting ones. Plus, she's got a larger prediction that keeps her up at night. We're going to talk about that. Jeremy Knight the Night, your favorite Austin realtor. Let's get into it. We're also going to go through her predictions and talk about how that impacts the Austin market and what that looks like for the Austin market. Obviously, on this channel, we talk about the Austin market heavily, but I like to look at the overall outside market because you have to know what's going on the outside to know what's going on the inside. And look, if you're new to this channel, I'm not one of those real estate agents that just says everything's wonderful, go buy a home. I like to give you a lot of good information. It's up to you whether you're going to buy or sell in this market. And based on what Ivy Zelman is saying, you might want to do one or the other. So we'll get into it. Ivy Zelman, not your average analyst, back in 2006, just before the housing market crashed, she famously challenged the overly optimistic views of our major real estate players. Fast forward to today, her firm, Zelman Associates, is responsible for the voice in the housing market predictions. Why should we listen to Ivy? Well, take a look at her track record because she's been spot on a lot. As you can see, Zelman has been quite accurate with her forecasts, which means her latest insights deserve our attention. Now let's talk about the recent trends of what we saw in 2022. Obviously, we saw the market go bananas up until 2022, about May, and then all of a sudden it dropped, especially here in the Austin market, about 22%, depending on what numbers you're looking at. We saw a high of 670 in the Austin market. Now we're down all the way into the 500s. It's a pretty huge drop. But even though we saw this huge dip, the overall market showed a huge resilience and prices didn't continue to really drop across the entire market. Now in Austin, they still dropped. We ended the year about 6% down. Depending on the numbers you look at, we actually ended the year even in the Austin area. We still have the December numbers coming out. So even though that took Ivy Zelman by surprise with the strength, she is predicting what is coming next, and she is predicting some gains in 2024. So here's what she says. Moving on in Zelman's 2024 outlook, the forecast is optimistic. We're looking at a rise in home values and an increase in sales thanks to falling mortgage rates, but don't expect skyrocketing prices. Zelman predicts a modest increase of 1.5% in 2024 and then another 2% in 2025. Now, that's pretty interesting because basically said the same about the Austin market going into next year. We do have a lot of inventory in the Austin housing market right now, but we do have some strength. And what is that strength? Well, we have new articles showing that in 2023, the Austin economy still grew, with U-Haul saying more people moved into Austin, giving it the top 5 places people moved into in 2023, which is pretty interesting news considering a lot of people said that everyone was moving out. One thing to keep in mind about the Austin market as well is that we saw unemployment go up, and everybody talked about how unemployment was going up. Well, unemployment has come back down to about 3.3%. So even Austin is showing resilience when a lot of people are saying it is not. And on top of that, Austin is getting more affordable. And this is what Ivy Zelman talks about in her talk as well, is the fact that with rates coming down and prices coming down, because look, the median for the MSA is in the 400s right now. The median for Austin is 500. Yes, 6.6% is a high interest rate. Her predictions are saying that we'll probably be down to 6.4%. Let me go into a little bit more about her predictions. She's even saying that it is getting more affordable for buyers in this. Speaking of mortgage rates, Zelman anticipates a drop to 6.4% in 2024, further down to 6.21% in 2025. This could be a game changer for more potential buyers and sellers. Also, Zelman's predictions hinge on a stable economy without significant job losses. She's banking on soft landing for the economy, which is orchestrated by the Federal Reserve. This means steady jobs and continued demand for housing. Now, if you think about it, it's something I've been talking about, is that there has been pent-up demand, especially in the Austin market, and everybody's telling me there's not. But look, median age for a home buyer is 33. Now it's up to 35, right? It got pushed back over the pandemic. Well, look at the median age for the Austin area. It's 33.9 years of age. That's something to heavily consider. And we'll talk about that stat and how important that is to the Austin market based on her further findings. So far, the best time to be buying is, by what I'm reading here, is 2024. Late 2023 was good because our buyers saw some really good prices We negotiated a lot of under list price offers. So was that the dip? Well, we'll keep going on this. Now, here's the twist, though, and this is what is happening in the Austin area. Zelman warns of a potential oversupply in the housing market after years of shortage. Builders are ramping up construction, possibly leading to more homes than buyers. This could impact the home sales and prices down the line. Now, she's not saying this for right now, but she's saying down the line. And how we look at these numbers is interesting, because if we look at the fact that 1.5 million new builds is what we needed to keep up with the current economy and the current growth, she's saying that those numbers aren't actually the numbers we should be looking at, because depopulation, we are seeing a trend downward in depopulation. Another factor to consider is the demographic shift. The U.S. population is growing slower with an aging demographic and lower birth rates. This means potentially less demand for single-family homes and quieter housing market. She's not saying this for 2024 and 2025, but she's looking into really 2030 and beyond. Now, this is interesting. What she's saying here basically is if we see builders continue to overbuild, then we will see an abundance of inventory, because we are going to see more people that have single family homes that are older, aging out, selling their homes or moving on to another place, not on this earth, and having to sell their homes. This is a good point. If you have parents that are in their 60s or getting in their 60s. In fact, there's some information showing that in the next 10 years, all of our baby boomers will all be 65 and over, which means that they all are going to be, in their retirement age. What the point I want to make is that if you have parents that are getting older, they really should be putting their home into a trust and putting you as a beneficiary, because let's say they do pass away and they leave you at that house. Let's say they bought that house for $100,000. And now it's worth $1.5 million. You're getting hit with the tax penalties on that. It's time for people like you and I in our mid to late 30s, 40s, start having conversations with our parents about how they're setting up trusts, because this is something that's going to be happening probably around 2030, which what she's saying. But overall, she's got a pretty optimistic look on the market. She's saying that 2024, 2025, we're going to see more home sales than we saw in 2023. So there is going to be a spurt of buyers and sellers, but she's not expecting to see a huge increase in home prices. So what does all this really mean for the Austin housing market? Basically, this is just saying it's time to have cautious optimism. If you're looking to buy at lower mortgage rates and steady prices, could be an opportunity for sellers. It's about timing and understanding these market dynamics. One thing that's interesting about this is we do see new construction about where we saw in 2005, 2006, getting pretty close to that 2006 mark. If you're looking at this graph, you have the completed and under construction. There's a lot of under construction where it pretty much matches 2000, a little more than 2004, but under contract or completed is right about the same as 2004. Now, Ivy in this is not talking about seeing a major crash in the next few years, but again, she is talking about that we are going to see less population as more people aren't creating babies as much, but we do have that buying age still at the 33 to 34 age. And in Austin, we are right there on top of that. Pretty interesting information. What do you think? Is Ivy Zelman wrong? Do you think that it's not going to be the time to buy? Do you still think that the market's just absolutely crushing and falling down on itself? Ivy is worried about the future with this depopulation. So drop a comment below. As far as the Austin market goes, I do have curious optimism for the Austin market. I don't think that this year is going to be an amazing year where we just see a ton of price increases, but we will see more sales for sure. And we're going to see a lot more activity. A lot of those people that are renting are going to be buyers. Now, what's interesting though, is that we do still see, there's an article right here talking about 18,000 units are still being built or were being built in early 2023. So we saw rent prices drop. So it did become easier and more affordable to rent, but we see those people that are still going to be here, going to be buying this year. So expect a lot more buyers in the market. And look, it's January. So we're going to see that right now. Jeremy Knight, your favorite Austin realtor. Drop a comment below. We'll see you in the next video.